actually don't remember. I feel like we probably met somewhere or somebody introduced us. We had a mutual. I always believe that you should try and get put on by other people. It's always nice to like meet a stranger and make a connection, but that's so rare. And I always say like go to the people who know you the best and who love you the most, and you guys co-sign each other, you know, and tell someone else, this person is dope, you need to know them, this is why. And I feel like somebody referred me to Tracy. Do you remember? Okay.
I think it was a color TV. There's a really wonderful organization called Color TV. There's also Color Assistance, and there's also Color Film. And it's basically a networking organization that several executives in town started. And it was basically put together to just sort of put everyone in a room together, because it's hard a lot of times to get everybody together in a room to sort of catch up and talk about what's going on, to help each other. Whether you're working or not, it's a great place to sort of pass along information about jobs. And I think it was I think it might have been a color TV, but the assistants part were there. Assistants were there too. And your friend Lauren was there. And so I think somehow we just sat down and we started talking. And the next thing I know, they were emailing me saying, can we have brunch? And they were both lovely girls. And they were very smart. They asked great questions. They were clearly very ambitious. And I love mentoring young women. I love mentoring, period, but I have a special place in my heart for young women. And so they were just awesome. And so we would go to brunch and talk. And eat. And I watched Ashley sort of do her thing. So, and it happened, you know.
So let's talk about that relationship though, because I've never said to someone, will you be my mentor, and have that person say yes. Never. There are some people in the industry right now who are mentors to me, but we've never been like, okay, will you be my mentor? Check yes or no. And then I'm like, yes, I will mentor you. Because it just doesn't work that way. Part of it is that when you ask someone that question, it feels big. It feels like a commitment. Everybody's so busy and they're like, I don't want to say yes to this and disappoint you, so I'm just going to say no, right? So rather than saying that, we can say, well, would it be okay if I emailed you questions that I have about what you do, right? We're all willing to open our inbox to somebody and answer a question once a month, or go to coffee once a quarter. The other thing is, if you find a mentor that's really great, you got to work your face off in between, right? Because if you meet with them in March and then you're like, okay, it's July, can we go to coffee again? It's like, well, what have you done since the last time we met? You need to have a ton to show, because that's what's most impressive to that person. So, Adrienne, what does it take for someone to impress you and or get a meeting with you? It is big.
I mean, I take meetings with a lot of people. You know, I think it's just a point of discernment for me. You know what I mean? Like, I can talk to you, and I'm about giving advice and telling you my story, and you can glean something from that in a way. I want to hear if there's ways that I can help. You know, I think we all have very busy schedules, so if it's kind of an email or something, we're having a conversation, but I can recognize the spirit that I had, and so I feel like it's a part of my job to now mentor and reach out to someone else. I think that's just a part of my purpose. Like, it's just something you have to do. You know, so to be like, oh no, I can't take a meeting with you, well then, you know, 10 years ago when I was that same person, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. So,
I'll just say, because I have very specific opinions about this, about mentors. So when I got how I got my mentor is the way you don't do it, which is exactly what she said. Which is how I got my mentor was literally, it was a panel like this with people in television network programming, and they went down the row and they said what they did, and they got to the chick who did current programming, and the light bulb went on. And she was talking about her job, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's it, that's the job. I had no idea. I was struggling with what I wanted to do specifically. And I knew it was creative, but I wanted it to be corporate. And I was like, it doesn't exist. And she literally described the job, and I was like, that's it. it's a current programming executive. And so after the panel was over, I literally bum rushed her. I walked up to her and I said, my name is Tracy Blackwell, and I want your job someday. And will you be my mentor? And she just looked at me like a deer in headlights, and she was like, okay. Well, I would like to keep my job, if that's okay. Maybe we can find you one like it one day. And she actually, and there was grace there. There was some grace there that day, and she said, and yes, I will be your mentor. And she's still my mentor. So that is the same woman who got me the job at UPN. So, but that's the wrong way to get one. Like bum rushing somebody after a panel, because you're putting that person on the spot. And sometimes they'll feel obligated to say yes to you, but the truth is they may not have the time, because most of us want to be good mentors. We want to feed into you, we want to pour into you, we want to give you the time that you deserve. And sometimes you're catching somebody at a point in their life where they don't have the time available. And they don't want to seem like they're not good people. And so sometimes they say yes to you and they really don't have the time to give. So the better thing to do is to ask if you can get 20 minutes or 30 minutes with them in an informational. Say, I would love, if you have the time, I would love to meet with you whenever it's convenient for you. Or if that person offers you a phone conversation, take it. Don't be offended by, I can only talk to you on the phone. What you want is their time. So whether it's in person or on the phone, don't worry about that. So take that and dialogue with that person. See what the energy is. Sometimes the energy is flowing and it's great and it's helpful, and what you'll realize is you'll fall into a relationship with this person. And they'll say, well, call me, in a few weeks or in a few months and let me know how you're doing. And what you'll realize is that, and sometimes the energy is just, you get your questions answered, and that's it. That's okay. Everybody's not going to be your mentor. Everybody's not going to be your BFF. It's not always going to be a long-term thing. There's nothing wrong with that, you guys. But the other thing I have to say is, and I also feel very strongly about this, is that there are 3 kinds of mentors. There are mentors, there are advocates, and there are sponsors. And they're 3 different things. A mentor is someone that you can sit down with and get advice from and run a question by, and a person who's going to be there for you to bounce stuff off on. And then there are advocates, and that's a person who you have that mentor relationship with, but they have the ability to call someone else and say, Susie's a great person to hire. These are her skills. This is why you consider meeting with her. They can make phone calls to set up other informationals for you. That's somebody who's advocating for you. And then there are sponsors, and these are the people who have the ability to hire you. These are the people who have the power, who have the positions, who are able to make one phone call and get you in. There are 3 different levels. They all fall under the umbrella of being a mentor. So sometimes you have people in your life that are those specific things. Sometimes you have someone who fits all of those descriptions, but it's important that you have all 3 of those in your arsenal in terms of what your relationship base is. But just remember that developing a mentor is a specific thing. You got to be careful about how you do it. Just bum rushing somebody is not always the best.